Welcome friends to another r/malicious compliance video. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And our first story of the day is by RayChill123, Years of Water Requests. So I've been lurking on the sub for a while and recently showed it to my brother who doesn't use Reddit. He loved the stories too, and we got to talking about this routine we got into when we were teenagers. One day we were watching TV, he got up to go to the kitchen, and I asked him to bring me some water on his way back. I think I asked kind of rude or didn't say please. Anyway, he decided to bring me water in a bowl, stating that I didn't ask specifically for a glass of water. Therefore, he'd done what I asked. It was pretty funny and I couldn't say he was wrong. A few weeks later, he asked me to get him some water, so I saw my chance to retaliate and of course, brought him some water in a bowl. This escalated so much over the years. If one asked for a glass of water, they would get brought a shot glass of water, or a pint glass with only a shot of water in it, or a mug of boiling hot water from the kettle. We would keep using more outrageous things to put water in: saucepans, egg cups, cat bowl, a vase, etc. It was ridiculous, but we had fun with finding new ways to comply with the other one's request for water in a slightly malicious way, all stemming from that first incident. If you got into this cat and mouse game with somebody where you found yourself always having to up the ante every single time it happened, would you actually ask them generically for water so that you could just see what they come up with? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by eGrant03, so help me to understand. We used to have a 2004 Kia Sedona van. At this point, it was over 10 years old with over 100,000 miles on it. It was geriatric, but it was our only vehicle, so what could we do? One day, the car won't turn over. We'd recently enough bought a new battery from the big box Mart store, you know what I mean, and new batteries come with a warranty of either 6 months or a year. Whatever it was, we were right inside of it. It's a Sunday and my husband's due at swing shift the next afternoon for the IRS, something he definitely can't miss. So he gets the battery out, puts it in a bag, and helps me load it into my carry-on suitcase. Why? I had a bus pass from college and I could ride for free. The closest store with a Tire Lube Express Center was about 5 miles away if you drove, but because it's a bus, it'll take me 20 plus minutes to get down there. I asked my driver to drop me off on the north side of the light, courtesy stop, so I'm not forced to walk far to get to the store. It was off the main road a bit, which isn't so bad when you're in a car, but it's a lot when you're pulling a suitcase in the heat with a heavy battery the same size as one for a truck. He said no and pulls up to the main stop, which adds half a mile of walking to my trip. I ain't never had a courtesy stop denied unless it was a safety concern, like the driver would be impeding traffic. I get that, but this had me frustrated. I'm a big chick with genetically cursed knees, the reason I'm big, so walking is more difficult for me. So it's hot, the suitcase helped with some of the weight, thank you physics and leverage, but I'm sore and salty by the time I make it all the way into the back of the store, having been checked by employees 3 times because I'm wheeling in a suitcase before I even made it into the back. Simple request to the attendant, will you test my battery for me? Attendant tests it and it comes back fine. Nothing wrong with it, so it doesn't warrant a replacement. Well, obviously there's something wrong, or my van would at least click when I tried to start it. I got nothing at all. Sorry, my equipment says it's fine. Whatever, I'm ready to be done. The tire place closes in less than an hour, and I had to time it perfectly to get my bus home and all the walking involved. Thankfully, the return stop was closer, but I didn't know that at the time. What else could I do? I say, well, could you just put it in the charger for me then? The attendant says, it won't be fully charged by the time we close. I say that's fine, understanding my alternator could take care of it. I'm not a helpless chick when it came to cars. So she throws it on the charger, and I sit down in the designated waiting area so I won't miss her when she comes back out. It happened before, and I lost a tire that way, long story. About 15 minutes later, she comes out without my battery, which I thought was odd because they're now T-minus 10 minutes to closing. The attendant says, so I put your battery on the charger, and the charger won't connect to it. I say, what does that mean? I know enough about cars, but not electronics and battery power storage. The attendant says, it means I can't charge your battery for you today. I am beyond frustrated knowing that my van takes a truck-sized battery and was therefore at least $135 for the cheapest one they had in stock. Thankfully, my ADHD makes my brain run mega fast and it helped me out for a change. Cue malicious compliance. I say, why does your machine fail to connect to a battery? What are the reasons? The attendant says, it's either the leads on the machine, which we checked, or the battery itself. I'm sorry. I say, so does that mean my battery's faulty? The attendant doesn't say anything. I say, logically, despite what your first machine said, my battery not being able to charge means it's faulty, and as I'm in warranty, I'm due a replacement, right? With a huff and an obvious eye roll, the attendant tells me she'll be right back, and by about 5 minutes after closing, she's helping me pack a new battery into my suitcase in time for me to get the next bus back home. Malicious compliance 2, the attendant warns me that the warranty exists from the original battery's purchase date. The new battery had a sticker on it that stated it was purchased several months later. The attendant said that this was in order to comply with state law and notify us of possible recalls. Within 2 months, we had moved to the opposite end of the county and our battery is freaking out again. We take it to a different mart, now with a new car to assist us, and they don't question the sticker despite our original warranty having expired already. We got 3 batteries for the cost of 1. Also, the attendant at that store, fully disclosing that he was about to quit, told me that the original battery was just such crap. Get what you pay for, I guess. He, being the manager of this particular store's lube center, authorized everyone that brought in that type of battery would get a better quality battery replacement instead. If my old battery was a 2 of 5, this new one was a 4 of 5. It lasted until my van went to the scrapper. Rest in peace, old girl. Well, considering how you were treated pretty much in quality and in service at the original mart, being able to go to the second one and get an upgrade and being told, yeah, those are bad, I help everybody out, kind of balances things out and restores faith in that mart. Because initially I was about to say, it sounds like you can't even trust this place. Our next story is by Yodi Pinata. That's technically bribery. A little background, 2 separate pieces of info. I used to work for a pizza place in my hometown. Inside our delivery range was a smaller city that had been engulfed by my city. They had their own police station, fire station, they even paid different taxes. The citywide speed limit was set to 20 miles per hour, and the cops would ticket anyone for going over. At my job, I tried to give a group of officers a discount once, and I was instructed by one of the officers that, in my state, the police force isn't allowed to accept free gifts or discounts for food and drinks as it's considered bribery. There were ways around this, of course, but I wasn't able to just give an officer a discount because I wanted to randomly. Now for the story, on one of the deliveries placed at my work for that small city, my friend was pulled over. The police force in that city were so difficult that they ticketed him for going 1 over. Happened to my friend twice. When he tried to fight the ticket in court the first time, the judge told him, "You were technically speeding." Technically breaking the law, it's important later. Years later, I'm working at a gas station just outside of said small city. My work has a policy that cops drink free. My company was happy to lose the profit if it meant we gained a little extra security for a few minutes a day throughout the day. Enter a small city cop. He comes in, grabs a drink, and starts heading for the door. This is where the malicious compliance starts. As he heads for the door, I say, "Hey sir, you need to pay for that." He looks back confused and says, "Nobody makes me pay for these. I'm an officer." To which I replied, "I understand that, but as an officer of the law, you should know that that is technically a bribe. And as I'm not going to be charged with bribing an officer, I need you to pay for that." He shakes his head and moseys himself to the back of the line so he can pay his $1 for his drink and leaves a little annoyed. I continue this trend over the course of the year I worked there. After a few weeks of this, the officer started to complain to the manager, and my manager came down on me. So I went into the small city and filed a complaint with their chief that his officers were taking bribes. He looked annoyed, but again, I was the best kind of correct, technically, and he said he'd talk with his officers. Over the course of that year, the cops were just flat out rude to me, but I didn't mind because they had to wait in line and pay their $1 for a drink. My manager gave up trying to enforce the policy because every time he tried to talk to me about it, I would state that policy is technically illegal and he doesn't pay me enough to break the law. I never told them about my past job. I eventually left, and I'm sure both the manager and the officers were happy that I did. To be fair, I'm kind of surprised that the manager didn't fire you earlier. I mean, maybe there's like some kind of union, maybe it's not an at-will employment state, but I would feel like the manager would try to find every reason to get rid of you if they're that, combative on this issue, even though OP is technically right. This next story is by Less Traveled Road. Only 1 piece of luggage? Okay. I've been reading this subreddit a while now and never thought I'd have anything to contribute, but another post made me think of this incident which happened many years ago. I can't remember why, but I was flying cross country and I had 2 snow tires for a car to bring with me in addition to my carry-on. When I checked in, the agent looked at the 2 tires and told me that I was only allowed a single piece of luggage. What should I do? I asked her if they had any rope. Another agent heard that and brought me some, and I tied the 2 tires together. Okay then, here's my single piece of luggage. She gave me an annoyed look and checked them in. It does kinda stink that they would be like that, but at the same time, they're just trying to do their job. If anything, I feel like the story is just a really good show of ingenuity from OP to be able to convert this 2-tire situation into 1 piece of luggage. Our next story is by 05-2020, Haystack. Years ago, I was working with a woman who also owned a bar. She hired me on a whim to help bar back. This was a biker bar in a very rural area of the state. I'm a black guy, and not everyone was okay with that, but I was under the owner's wing, so no one objected too much. Haystack was getting out of jail, and there was a big party planned. I was asked to bartend because everyone wanted time off to attend the party. I'm busting my butt, keeping patrons happy, and this figure filled the doorway. Haystack had arrived and the party erupted. I dropped everything I was doing to attend to the man of the hour. I say, "How can I help you?" Haystack says, "I want a drink, but I don't want you touching my ice." I say, "So you want a drink with no ice? Okay, but I'm kind of busy here. What do you want?" It seemed as if the whole place fell silent. Years later, he and I still laugh about it. Well, I'm glad it evolved from the point where this person didn't even want OP serving them drinks to eventually getting to the point where they could just laugh about it and enjoy company together. It's nice to see people grow out of stuff like this. And our final story of the day is by Cookies Need Love, 1 carry-on only. Seeing a similar story reminded me of this one. I was at the airport ready to board my plane. I had my carry-on suitcase, purse, a jacket, a neck pillow, and a plastic bag with a single candy bar in it. I had worn the jacket for the first part of my trip in a cooler region, but was currently in a warmer region. I didn't really have room in my carry-on for the jacket or neck pillow, but no one else had complained about it. Flight attendant is checking people for boarding, and I'm next in line. This petty power-tripping attendant gives me a smug and angry look, telling me I can't board because I have more than the single piece of carry-on luggage and purse allowed. I try arguing that it'll all still fit in the bin they use for testing the allotted size of carry-on. I even try arguing that even if I stuff it all in my bag, the weight is the same. No go, the attendant is clearly having a bad day, and I'm his power trip to feel better. So all the while I'm looking him directly in the eye, I put the jacket on, put the neck pillow around my neck, and stuff the bag with the candy bar in my carry-on. Then wait silently, still maintaining eye contact. He finally huffs in frustration and waves me on board. Don't you love security theater putting on a big old show like this? Acting like what they do is very, very critical. Acting as if they're an action hero and that it's a dire moment and that they have to do it right. It gets a little tiring, not gonna lie. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.